could you talk to me a little bit about the role of famine and maybe just the climate more in general and its effect on India's economy, economic growth, development, and just general sort of well-being?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's a very important subject for understanding conditions of life in the past. Um, well, it's well established that this thing that we call droughts, which is an extended period of dryness, which can destroy crops, create unemployment, that the incidence of that is much more frequent, and the extreme events are more common in the tropical monsoon world. Because these are tropics, which means that they have a very high evaporation. The sun is very strong for a long period of the year. And if the rains then fail, or if they come early or late, you have a huge problem, both in terms of managing the cultivation year as well as getting drinking. And the droughts really emerge from that condition. And when you have repeated several seasons, um, droughts extended over several seasons, you get a famine. That dynamic is an extremely old one in this region, as indeed it is in monsoon Africa. Um, Famines had been happening for a very long time. And we have very good knowledge, reasonably good knowledge for at least two major 17th century famines, several 18th century ones, and a really deep knowledge of famines in the late 19th century, when the British happened to rule, but there was also the general political anxiety that the famines were actually making the rule more politically weaker and difficult to justify. This episodes of mass deaths the government could prevent. So the response was to institute to create this inquiries about why famines happen. And the inquiry results were published as famine commission reports and irrigation. And the general thesis there was that famines happen because of monsoon climate and the unpredictability of monsoon climate. So famines are essentially extended droughts. But then came the solution, and the solution was to invest more in water control, which is a way of ensuring against the droughts, and also investing in railways, which is a way of carrying food faster and cheaper, so that if a famine happens, you have a mitigating strategy, supply. And there is now pretty good research suggesting that the railway policy worked exactly as the famine commissions had predicted it would. The irrigation policy didn't work exactly as predicted, because the main irrigation tool, which was to draw canals out of rivers, worked in northern India, where you had Himalayan rivers and they carried water throughout the year. If you go to South India, you don't get water crisis in the rivers.
Right. There wasn't like this constant supply. Interesting. So there's obviously like a big climate aspect to this in terms of the famine and drought periods. I've seen a lot of criticism when I've doing sort of wider research on the British. I mean, we were skipping over a lot bit of history here, but I guess to try and keep it relevant. That the British Raj in many instances actually exacerbated a lot of these famines. So is it a case of climate, but also being exacerbated by potential foreign occupation and some of the consequences that come with that make these things in particularly quite economically damaging?
Well, you cannot really test that thesis, because we know very little about what states did in pre-colonial famine. We know they happened, but we don't know enough about what exactly the states did to mitigate them, what policies there were. The zero data. So there is no kind of before and after saying that you can do. So if you don't like the Raj, and there may be other reasons to not like the Raj, then you can add this as an argument. But essentially, it's not a test of argument.
Gotcha.